Hello and welcome. It is I, Iron Raiden, back yet again. Apologies if you hear it sounds like I'm driving, which I am, so but I don't think it's too bad. But yes, okay, because my last video I just talked about Vince McMahon returning to WWE, and my main point being is that how that shouldn't have really been that much of a surprise. Clearly, he had still been around in some way, shape, or form, because you just know that the booking of Raw is almost no different than what Vince would do under Triple H's wing here, and a lot of people just still felt like that was a whole big, like, oh, it's a new age of WWE. Not really much has changed. Optically, for some people, maybe, but really, when you look at it, the big picture, not much was really different. But right now, as it's being reported, now I'm not going to sit there and take this as absolute fact, because no official reports have said anything about this at this time. Apparently this happened late last night sometime, and it just spread like wildfire. Everyone's doing a video on it, and everyone's tweeting about it, this and that. So I don't know 100% what the deal is, because as far as I'm concerned, I mentioned before that, of course, Comcast was a top choice to purchase WWE. I considered The Rock and or Disney in some way, shape, or form as like a second or third option. And I knew that Saudi Arabia was an option. I knew they had interest. I knew that was a possibility. But even I could not have considered that Vince McMahon, like, even as low as he can get with a lot of things, I did not consider he would actually potentially do this. And sure enough, like, this is what the deal is, what people are saying. Nothing's been actually confirmed yet. So we're kind of just talking about it, is that he sold WWE to Saudi Arabia. Now, now for a lot of people, this is the end. This really is the end of WWE as we know it, knowing that he's selling it to Saudi Arabia. And of course, we know that he has the deal with them for the Crown Jewel show, this and that. A lot of people didn't like that to begin with. A lot of talent themselves, didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. Hell, I think even Shawn Michaels recently had said, like, I don't want, like, he didn't like going to Saudi Arabia. He never really wanted to do that stuff. But money talks, of course, especially with Vince. And now, what does this mean for the company? This would technically mean that WWE is no longer an American company. And as I've been saying, this is why AEW was necessary. This is why pro wrestling has been on life support, particularly in North America, is because of Vince McMahon having gone so long. And this is with any giant corporate entity, is that once they're around long enough, and once there's like next to no competition for them whatsoever, they can afford to not give a shit. That's when the product itself starts to get watered down. You start to get charged more for stuff. You get less bang for your buck. All right, that's pretty much what it comes down to. All right, and knowing that that's been the case, and the AEW has come along, I always consider that a good thing, because the competition was always going to be good to have, all right, no matter what. And knowing that this is the point that where we are now, though, to where AEW is technically the top king, if this is to be true, of North American pro wrestling. And that is so unbelievable to me. Now, where does that leave Vince? Now, we know that just because Vince would sell the company, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have power, doesn't mean he still can't be on the board, because he easily can be, so he can still have creative control. But how much of what Saudi wants from the show as a whole, if this is to be the case, how much of what they want is going to trickle down? Like, could they just exclusively just go, oh, we're just doing Saudi Arabia now, forget traveling to US, we don't need that? Could they make the Crown Jewel the WrestleMania of the company? They could. And so you wonder about that. You wonder about the women's division. Like, are they all just going to have to wear just one-piece spandex? Is that what's going to happen? Like, what's going to be the case there? I can't imagine it being that drastic. Because even for Vince standards, I can't imagine him completely, like, just throwing everybody under the bus, which, I mean, For a lot of people, it's probably too late. But yeah, where would that leave them creatively? Obviously, I imagine it's not like, oh yeah, the WWE traveling around, North America. Are they going to want an extra Saudi show? Are they going to want a Saudi show every other? Like, what could happen there? They could do anything that they want to do at that point. How much creative control will Vince want to stay on creative? What would he want to do? And because a lot of talent, a lot of people already never wanted to go to the Crown Jewel shows. They don't like to do any of that stuff. And even if they keep them on a relatively loose leash when it comes to some of this stuff, are a lot of people really going to want to be involved with them, knowing that it's under Saudi's belt and not theirs? Not even an American company, not even Disney. I knew Disney would be a disaster, but I don't know. This is honestly, I can't really say what could happen if this is to be fact. It would be very fact. If this winds up being fact, I can't imagine what's going to happen next. There's so many questions to be answered there, and like again, even for Vince, I didn't think I knew it was a potential like fifth option, but I didn't think this would actually wind up being a potential fact. I'm like, okay, well, they may technically be a possibility, but is even Vince going to go that far and to completely just sell it over to Saudi Arabia? Because if you sell it to Saudi Arabia, chances are, I doubt it'll ever come back to North America as far as a U.S. owner. As bad as maybe Disney and them may be, I can't even imagine this. It's so odd to me. So I don't know what's going to come of this, because even on top of that, just before this started circulating, is that Stephanie stepped down as co-CEO, which even that probably isn't that surprising to me, because I think even prior to a lot of with Vince stepping down and such, that she was even kind of looking to limit her role. Like, she wanted to concentrate on family stuff, if I'm not mistaken. And so like her stepping down as as a head honcho of sorts, that's not surprising to me that much, especially since Vince is coming back. I imagine she'd want to probably limit all of what she's doing, but that's whatever. And so that suddenly happened, and then, because knowing that most people probably didn't realize that this was on the table, and knowing how much it spread like wildfire, like, I don't know initially where this came from, but everybody, even everyone on Twitter, everyone's making a video about it now. So I don't know where all of this lies. It's very interesting. I don't know. It leaves a lot of questions. That is for damn sure. I can't even imagine that this being the fact, but it apparently is, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens from here. I imagine we'll get confirmation of anything today. It has to. I mean, but yeah, this just came out of nowhere. Even I didn't consider this, and for it to be so quickly. Now, this really just goes to show that Vince is on a blaze right now. Like, he is just going with this. He did not stop. He did not let this breathe. We figured, again, even with him taking control, that would have taken maybe a couple of days. The sell itself, I imagine that would have at least maybe taken a couple of months, if not maybe a couple of years. Something, all right? But this really is the case, and it just... Saudi Arabia, okay, you motherfuckers can have, damn. Vince has no chill whatsoever. This dude is on a vengeful path. He don't give a shit. Not a care in the world. I mean, I can't even believe this shit if it winds up being the case. But damn, let me know what you think about this. I can't imagine that a lot of people are going to be very happy about this whatsoever. I mean, pretty much all the fans are like, I'm done. Like, it's... I mean, we know people can be fickle when it comes to oh, I'm done completely. I'm done. But this is a bigger deal for a lot of people than most other things. So I don't know, man. It's going to be wild as this is going to be true, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'll cut it off right there. I've babbled on long enough about it. Let me know what you think. I am Iron Raven, and I am out.